Radio. Good morning. It's Tuesday, in case you were wondering, the 26th of May, nearly 10:30, and we're going to find out now about the Crossroads Community Hub, which is a delivery-only community-led food bank set up by the councillor for Newton Hall a month or so ago. That's Adam Langan, and he's on the phone now. Hello, Adam. Good morning.
Hi, Gavin. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you and yours during lockdown?
Yeah, we're all good. Yeah, all good. Not going quite insane yet.
No. You've been busy. You've been setting up. I think it was about a month ago. This hub. Before we talk about it, when your aim is to get food out to people that need it, but why did you set up this hub in addition to the West Cheshire Food Bank, which is already pretty established?
Yes, so it's working with partnership with the West Cheshire Food Bank to more of a sort of community-based model to make it a bit more accessible. Because we felt that at this time, especially during COVID, that there's a huge amount of people that have never accessed this sort of provision before, food bank or universal credit, who are going through difficulty for the first time. And if it's based in the community, it might be more accessible to people, and it means that we have a bit more flexibility. So, for example, we take the West Cheshire Food Bank box, because we work with them, so we take their box from the warehouse and we essentially enhance it, so we make sure there's fresh fruit and veg in every single box that goes out. We make sure there's usually about 7 meals in there at least, and there's a huge amount of variety in the food as well. So that's why we've sort of moved towards that model. Okay.
Is it a more straightforward method of obtaining the food by coming to you guys? Because I know for the Trussell Trust-run food banks, you have to have a reference from either the DWP or your GP or something like that, don't you?
Yeah, so again, that's one of the reasons why it was set up, was because in these times, the West Cheshire Food Bank felt it was important to get food out quickly to people who need it, so they have removed some of the bureaucracy from that. So it's still issuing a food bank voucher, but I can do that. So if somebody phones this number on the flyer that I'll talk about at the end of the call, I can take a few very informal details from them. I don't need War and Peace. I just need a few little details about themselves, and then I can get a food parcel out to them that afternoon. So we're also very efficient. So if we get a referral before 1:30 that day, then we can get it out by after 3 o'clock that afternoon.
And you deliver as well?
Yes, so we only delivery, because I think that might tackle the stigma that can be associated with actually having to physically go to a food bank and walking past your neighbours, etc.
Yeah, that is an issue, especially for people that have never used one before and never ever thought they would need to use one. Then all of a sudden, along comes a pandemic, job gone, no income, and all of a sudden, heck, I'm going to have to use a food bank. That's got to be difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah, and we are finding that with a lot of the referrals we get as well. It's not just people who've lost their job, it's people on furlough. So when you lose 20% of your wage, people living paycheck to paycheck, 20% of your wage is your food. So, and people, you've seen it all over the world in different countries, especially in America. But one of the main things I want to do is tackle that stigma around asking for help. So if you know somebody that does need help, you can refer to me. It doesn't necessarily have to be that exact person.
Well, of course, the vast majority of us don't know when we might need that help. The vast majority of us are only maybe 2 or 3 paychecks away from needing to come to an organisation like yours, you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, to be honest. And we are giving out really good quality of food as well. So the main ethos that drives me is that just because you can't afford food doesn't mean that you get sort of rubbish food. So we make sure there's a huge amount of variety in every box we give out. We make sure, as I said before, there's fresh fruit and veg. And the volunteers who make the parcels, I always say to them, if you wouldn't eat it yourself, don't put it in.
Okay, that's a pretty good way to approach it.
Yeah.
So what are you've already mentioned people that have been furloughed and have lost 20% of their wages. What are the sort of circumstances of people who are coming to you for help at the moment?
So we've got a huge variety, to be honest. So as you're probably well aware, in Chester there's a large amount of the homeless community have been housed in hotels. So we're feeding a lot of those guys with food parcels. And just to put it into perspective, they predominantly only have a kettle to cook with. And to think about how you cook 7 nutritious meals a week with just the kettle.
Well, you can't, can you?
You can't. It's incredibly difficult. So what we have done is we've used, there's loads of community groups involved who are working with us, and loads of different partners. And we've asked some of them to source food, so to put yourselves in the shoes, if you only got a kettle to cook with. So when they've been doing their supermarket shop, they've been going around and treating it a bit like Ready Steady Cook and how they can sort of source food. Right. So even if we can't give people an amazing, nutritious meal, we can at least give people a variety of the food you can cook with a kettle. And definitely some fruit of some sort in there as well.
Of course, because you can eat fruit obviously raw, and it's full of all sorts of things that we should be putting into our bodies.
Of course.
So I know you wanted to come on because you were concerned there are people in need who might not be reaching out to you. So we're going to get to how we contact you in a moment. But just obviously you were set up a month or so ago in response to problems thrown up by COVID. When COVID is over, do you intend to wind this hub up and sort of hand full responsibility for this back to the West Cheshire Food Bank for this area?
To be honest, I think from what West Cheshire Food Bank's point of view is they quite like the community model and they want to stick with it. So when COVID finishes as well, I think we're all aware that the economic impacts of it aren't going to go away overnight. And the demand, to be honest, might even go up over time as the burn actually starts to hit. You might have some savings, you might, as you said, 2 or 3 paychecks. When you get 2 or 3 months down the line from when your furlough kicked in, or when you lost your job, or you reduced hours, or whatever reason, then there might still be a demand there. So to be honest, I don't know how long this is going to last for. As long as the demand's there, I think it will be there.
You'll be there while people need you. And I know you're councillor for Newton and Hull, but this project covers the whole of the Chester area, except for Blacon, because they have their own hub already established.
Exactly, yeah. So what I've actually modelled the actual set out of the food bank based on the Blacon model, because it's working really well there. And just in terms of numbers, we fed over 107 people, 107 households now. So that's a mixture of families, individuals, etc. And it was initially only going to be quite a small scale thing, but the more partners we got on board, the more ambitious we got, and the more demand's out there, to be honest. So
you've probably
just help.
Maybe discovered there's a greater demand than even you thought at the beginning.
100%, yeah. I didn't realise there'd be that big a demand. But
you mentioned your partners. Just give them a shout out. Who are you working with to make this happen?
Of course. So West Cheshire Food Bank, obviously, they're working with us closely. A variety of the other councillors across Chester. The 2 main partners are probably Hull Baptist Church and Vineyard 53 Project. And there's a million other different church groups, community organisations that are helping us. Soul Kitchen in Chester, Share Shop in Chester, Kingsway and Newton Residents Association. We've got a digital flyer that we've been giving out to people, and will show everybody who's working with us. There's a load of people who aren't even on that flyer who are working with us. So what it's shown me, to be honest, is in Chester, COVID has brought out the worst in some people, but it's by far outweighed by the number of positive things that have come out of it.
Absolutely, and we need to hang on to that.
Definitely.
So the phone number is 07598 536 904, and I will read that number out again after the song I'm about to play. So 07598 536 904. If somebody rings you before 1:30, you can get food out to them by 3 o'clock. So that is a pretty good service. I bet the supermarkets wish they could do that.
Maybe 3:30. Give us half an hour.
I'll still let you have 3:30. That's fine. Yeah. Or you can email hello@hbc.org.uk. I'll give those details out after the next song, and I'll stick them on our socials as well.
Or just private message me on Twitter. Whatever method you get in touch with me is absolutely fine.
What are you on Twitter, Adam?
So I'm at Adam Langan 4.
Adam Langan 4. So 3 people beat you to it. Got you.
Exactly. It's not fair.
At Adam Langan 4 on Twitter. Lovely. Well done, you and all your partners, working so
No
hard
worries.
and delivering this service that is so essential to so many people in Chester at this time. Well done. Thanks for coming on,
Amazing.
Adam. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Gavin.
Cheers,
See
thank
later.
you.
Bye now.
That's Adam Langan. He's the councillor for Newton and Hall, and he's talking about the Crossroads Community Hub delivering food very quickly to people who need it.